I would say be wary of a smooth workflow. I think nothing good was ever easy. We follow an Australian competitor in the film called Toby Wilson, and he told me about the porridge making competition, right? So I was in Europe, heard about this competition, and I just very spontaneously went to the village and started knocking on doors and meeting people. Found both the picturesque landscape, the like quirky and hilarious and kind of compelling competition, and most importantly, Charlie, who I really connected with. And there was this urgency when he confessed to me that he was ill and it was his last year. And I felt this just sort of very instinctive and burning desire to capture his story. And I don't really know why. I think maybe in a way I saw myself in him slightly. Like there is something artistic about him. I think he uses the porridge competition in a weird way as his theatre or as his canvas.
Hi, welcome to Carrbridge. Let me show you around.
Coming from Australia, you travel 24 hours to get there. So people feel obligated to open their doors to you because you just traveled so far. Like it definitely has an outsiders looking in feeling. So I spent time I spent as much time having cups of tea with people as I did making a documentary. And a lot of these people are older, never been in front of a camera before in their lives. They were comfortable because they knew me. And I hope that sort of quality comes through in the film, that people are like funny and relaxed. And I think it was just about building that trust, because no one wants the piss taken out of them. And I kind of went in with this spirit of, we're going to be laughing with you, not at you. I really have learned that there is just so much vibrancy and fun to be had in the later stages of your life. And I think that's something that should be really celebrated and adored and considered quite precious. The vitality and the energy that old people can have, I think, is often in a very youth-obsessed culture. Old people are seen as, as a nuisance or, not really contributing. And I think that's just complete bullshit. I think old people can be as fun, as exciting as, their 18-year-old grandchildren. Yeah, we wanted the whole thing to have a fabulistic storybook kind of quality in both the way it was shot, but in some of the action as well. So it's a combination of these very set up, stylized shots and real spontaneous moments. And it was very important to me that the very first shot of the film is Charlie standing in a field, and you can see him sort of pointing to me, being like, am I in the right spot? And, you can sort of imagine me off stage being like, go more to the left. And he does. And I was like, that's really important at the beginning of the film, so the audience know that I'm in the film, even if you can't see me. And so there's a license to be like, yeah, these things are obviously set up. The village itself is kind of poetic and it's larger than life. And I think a scratchy, fly-on-the-wall aesthetic just wouldn't have been right for the film.
The star of the show should always be the porridge itself. Just let the oats sing.
And what oats will you be using?
Why would I want to tell you?
I worked very closely with the cinematographer Dimitri Saunders and our producer Rebecca Lamond. We were like a little trio, and they're both amazing and such experts in their fields. But we looked at a lot of paintings. We looked at the paintings of Bruegel and his little figurine landscape works. And we looked at some radio plays as well from BBC in the 1950s. So the Welsh poet Dylan Thomas wrote this work called Under Milkwood, which is a radio play about the dreams of Welsh seaside villages. And that was a huge inspiration for us. And we all agreed on some key conceptual ideas and tent poles that we wanted to tell from the beginning. And, we mapped up the whole film, before our final trip with all of these cue cards of all the scenes we wanted to get, all the potential scenes. And then obviously it's a documentary, right? So you only get half of them. But we had a few things in the middle, like conceptual things. So we had, on a big piece of paper, it was strange but kind. But okay, we want to showcase that being weird and quirky and eccentric, we want to maintain an empathy and a kindness to the whole thing. And I think it was these ideas that whenever we were in doubt of a decision, we could go back to the initial reasons why we wanted to make the film in the first place. And that was kind of a good guiding light to have throughout it. So what are the essentialized ideas at the core of my desire to make this? And constantly going back to that, I find very useful. I would say be wary of a smooth workflow. I think nothing good was ever easy. And I think it is these moments of crisis that actually make you dig deeper into your creativity. And I think it's actually about embracing the chaos and the unknown and the feelings of kind of unsureness. That's often when I think you're actually close to something that's interesting.